I think that we have done too much of talking on the African continent, spent a lot of time in conferences and workshops, and it's time for us to say, why has the continent not moved forward faster? My view is that we have not paid enough attention to execution, and I think execution is a consequence and a responsibility of leadership. One of the leaders' major responsibilities is to conduct the operations and make sure the things that we have agreed to do are done. So that's why I'm bringing a lot of focus in all my public speeches to, we need to talk about this. We need to make sure that we are translating what we say we will do, our commitments, our ideas, into action, and into action that improves our communities.
And how does the typical man on the street insist on good leadership? How do you think they should go about it?
Well, the typical man on the street is part of the ecosystem that holds the governors accountable.
Or should hold the governance accountable,
they
but
have
doesn't seem to work.
No, they have ways of holding the governors accountable. I think that because you and I are not in government, we feel that they are not held accountable. But they have ways. And by the way, it's not only the people who are in political office who they hold accountable. They hold businesses accountable through their purchase decisions every day. Our reputations affect what we do. Those who are members of faith groups hold their leaders accountable in some way, because when they misbehave, they decide that they go somewhere else and so on. What we need to do is to organize it better and to make sure that the fora are there, that people are able to speak, that the purpose for which we are trying to achieve is known to everybody, and that is a constant conversation that is going on. So we learn from each other in the process.
So you said businesses. Now, I know that you are the Vice President of Unilever in Nigeria and across. So have Nigerian and Ghanaian customers been holding you accountable?
Yes, they have been holding us accountable. If they didn't hold us accountable, we would not have the commitment to ethical businesses that we all do have. They hold us accountable in the sense technology has made the world much more transparent than we have ever known it to be. And so in all decisions that you make, in all operations, you must remember that there's an environment that is holding you accountable for how ethical are your practices, how committed are you to improving communities, how committed are you to fair play, and it's an interconnected accountability. I cannot sit in Nigeria and think that, or Ghana for that matter, and think that I'm in a corner of the world and what I do does not matter to anybody. If I am engaged in a certain level of misconduct, it can pull down the whole of Unilever globally. That's the reality of the world that we live in today.
Okay, and let's speak to the business performance. Nigeria has just been through a recession, and now we're currently in a slow recovery. Analysts I've spoken to and the economic reports I've seen show that consumer demand seems to be a bit weak because disposable income also seems to be a bit weak. What's your outlook in Nigeria for this year in particular?
So first and most importantly is that we're a long-term investor. We've been in Nigeria for 94 years. We've been in Ghana for 98 years. Now, these economies have had good times, have had bad times, but we have stuck with it because we believe that we have a long-term commitment. We are a partner in the development process of the countries, and we do not hold ourselves to the considerations of what some have called the quarterly rat race. That's not what this is about. This is about together in partnership with a multi-stakeholder approach with all those who are committed to the development of Nigeria and Ghana, how we create value in the communities and for the communities. And so that there's a period of challenge, that's just part of life. We believe good times will come through. The fundamental issue is that whether the economy is booming or not, there are needs that people have, and how can we as businesses provide solutions that improve people's lives in those situations. If we do them well, then we have prospects.
Okay, and we've gone from bust, which was Nigeria slightly, and to boom. In Ghana, the economy is growing extraordinarily. So are you expecting to have a bonus year?
At the end of the day, it's not just what the macroeconomic indicators talk about. What we have been speaking about over here is also about inclusive growth. And whether in Ghana or in Nigeria, my responsibility as a consumer goods person is to identify the fundamental needs that people have, problems and challenges that they have, and ask myself the question of how we can participate. I gave the example when I was speaking about the fortification of savory products and how by introducing more iron into the nutrition cycle, we can deal with anemia. We have products like Domestos. We deal with open defecation, which is a problem on our continent and in many other parts of the world. The introduction of Lifebuoy is a soap that teaches people the right times to wash their hands and therefore improves public health. Those are the sorts of things that we are involved in. And we believe that if you are involved in them, then yes, it's a good thing if the economy is growing and growing fast, but that's not fundamentally what you're focused on. You're focused on improving communities, improving the lives of individuals, giving back dignity, believing that when the communities thrive, you too will thrive.
Now, on this one, my editor will probably kill me if I do not ask it. Nigeria is going to another election cycle. I know that Unilever is a long-term investor, as you said, but do you expect the political risk from this election in particular? Because if you recall, President Muhammadu Buhari is the first president to have defeated an incumbent in Nigeria's democratic history. Do you anticipate greater political risk from this election than all the others that came before?
Well, at every election, there's a certain degree of political risk that people speak about. I was here in 2015 when people said Nigeria was going to come to an end. And here I am, we're talking about 2019. So we have a lot of experience in dealing in what we call VUCA markets, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And these days, when you talk about VUCA markets, you're not just talking about developing markets. You schooled in the UK, you were saying to me, we've just had a Brexit, which was not something that was predictable 2 or 3 years ago. So one of the challenges that business leaders like myself have with their teams is also how to cope and manage an ambiguity. That's just the nature of the world right now. And those who do it best, they get ahead. So I think the election is one of the things that we do. It's a 4-year cycle. You will come. You know that it will come. So we manage with it and we move on.